matter how it ends, matters how you stand. This is Lavoy Finicum. One cowboy stands for freedom. See you later.
All right, so we have some other important business to talk about today. Kaylyn is here with us, and she's going to give us an update about Edward Badalian's situation. And so I'm going to invite Kaylyn up to the mic to talk about that. Come on up.
Hey everybody, and excuse my rudeness. I was like on the phone and back and forth, and so I'd really love to hear more of your story from the little bit of the beginning. But it sounded very interesting, and so I'm here on behalf of Edward Badalian. He is a J6 defendant, but I think he was our defender. He was out there on J6 just to give you guys, the new people, a little bit of a just. And last time we were here, we gave a little spiel on what he was going through then, and he was out and he was with me, and he had his ankle monitor, unfortunately. And then we, of course, left to go to DC for his hearing, his sentencing. So we were there for sentencing, thinking he was going to come home. The thought was, he's coming home 60 days, and he's going to turn himself in. That's not how things went in DC. I will tell you, we were anxious for the day. He didn't eat a whole lot, the night before. He was obviously really stressed out. The next morning was a little even crazier. I needed to run to the store, and I came back, and we didn't hug or kiss that morning. And then, we went right into court, and then, of course, they got into it, and, there was a little back and forth. He didn't get to say a whole lot. That's kind of how court goes. If you've been even in court for a speeding ticket, you're just supposed to respect the judge, and you're supposed to, only have that little bit of time to respond to one specific question. He did get to testify in the trial, but the trial, you can't really tell the entire story in the bit of time that you get. And even so, it's not clear in your head to the point where you share every single detail. So, during the sentencing, the things were brought up that he disagreed with. There were things that they were lying about. And, as she got up there to give his sentence, and actually we had a nice break. It was like 45 minutes. Or no, actually, it was probably shorter than that. It was like 20 minutes. And I was talking to a woman behind me, so we didn't, and then he was with his lawyer, so we still had no connection during that time. And, she got back, and she sat in her seat, and she just spewed all these hateful lies. And I even felt it from the audience, and I just wanted to speak up. But, there's one marshal, behind me, and then a woman who was actually the wife of the gentleman who had the very first J6 trial. And that's a whole nother crazy story. He's in for 7 years and definitely doesn't deserve to be. His 18-year-old liberal son turned him in. Family drama, etc. Horrible, horrible. So she comes back to give the sentencing, spewing all of that, and he could not let her lie. He couldn't hold his composure. Sorry, I'm trying to keep it together. He couldn't hold his composure, and I felt for him because it was how do you let someone lie about you up there on the record? So he knows what he's doing. He knew what was happening in that moment, and that this was supposed to be part of the record, supposed to be part of the fight, and he knew he was going. So, sorry. I've only told this story 1 million times to 50 million different people on the phone. And it still doesn't get easier. I went by myself, so I didn't actually have anybody other than that woman. And so he cut her off 20 times. And if you read the transcript, of course, you can see everything they said to each other, but you will never feel the intensity that was going on in that room. And she was screaming, to his lawyer, make your, client shut up or I will. Just kind of welling up in tears herself, as they were going back and forth. And there's so much bias in everything that she said. There's so many, so much emotion in the things that she had to say about him. It was clear that she hated Edward. She said he's grandiose. She said, and I'm not trying to make it any harder for him because, he has to, of course, go and appeal. He gets 3 different judges. But though if that does not work, he has to obviously go back to see. But I don't regret anything that I've said because I feel like it's insanely unfair, everything that's happened. All that she said was, I understand, they're able to take facts from here and from here and from here and make a narrative of their own and maybe, tell it so many times that they believe it's true themselves. But I just need to keep speaking out and getting better at this and, really putting his story out there and talking about it constantly because those are lies and that is not who he is. And he doesn't think he's smarter than everyone else. And she, thought he was trying to show off by saying he attended the Leadership Institute, and then he was trying to promote, healthy protesting, and they, caught him in a motion to the cops, when he tried to, of course, get them to cooperate with him, and so it's just the passion of being rejected and knowing all of what's going on in your government and that you don't have the help of your police force behind you. They're so hung up on the fact that he thinks that they say he can arrest traitors by himself. There's so many there's so many things out there saying that he was just going to go in and get Nancy Pelosi and grab her by her arm and, take her herself. It's posse comitatus. He was really trying to do this the right way. But so that back and forth, back to the court date, that back and forth ended in, obviously, him going in right away. Very dramatic. He had to take off his tie and his belt and his shoelaces and everything right then and there and hand them to me. Well, actually, he tried to hand them to me, and they, scorned him quite hard. Because he wasn't allowed anywhere near me. That's the breakdown process. They want you to immediately feel like you're theirs. And so,
Kaylyn, can you tell us?
Sorry if it's a jumbled mess.
What was the sentence that
the
they handed
sentence ended
down?
up being 51 months. He's in there. And then 36 months of probation and 100 hours of community service, that was necessary. But just, of course, any little thing that they can get you on.
And can you also say what were the actual charges that he was convicted of?
Yeah, so conspiracy, I thought was the biggest one. Honestly, it ended up being obstruction of an official court proceeding that all of these guys are fighting. And hopefully there is some light at the end of the tunnel because there is stuff out there that they're saying, we're only just entering appeals. Things are happening now. Everyone had their chance for a trial. Now they're moving to appeals. And, the lawyer that I'm fighting really hard for to fundraise an extra few $1,000s. I actually, I took my savings and I, pulled from his family and made awkward calls and called everybody in my cell phone and was able to gather, a decent bit of this. And Nick Smith is his new attorney, hopefully, here in the next week. I'll be able to obtain that. And, or 2, we have till the 2nd. That's his appearance. So you guys know, his first appearance in front of 3 judges for the appeal, I think. It's all a learning process. Seriously, this is all information I learned 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and it's overwhelming to not have, I have you guys, which, at these events I feel so connected and kind of at home. I don't have my family here. His family's here, but that's also super hard because they're going through the loss of someone as well. But we're in the process of preparing for the appeal, and then we'll make the appeal. But there's maybe exciting things happening in December with a Supreme Court case that the same attorney does have. So I feel pretty excited about this man, and hopefully that's, I feel like God has also spoken. I'm not religious, but I'm not religious. I've always been open. But, you know, people keep asking me, like, do you have faith? And I say, well, I'm definitely gonna here super soon. Because it just pushes you there.
Can I ask you a couple of questions? Do you feel that the whole process that they put you through is punishment in and of itself? And have your funds been completely depleted by this?
Oh yeah, I mean beyond. Like I'm learning about. I just, you know, his family members are asking me like, I don't even have the money to go visit him, and I'm, you know, now informing them like, there's a company called Love Wins, and they pay for your travel, and you know, I've already applied, and that's what I mean about our community is that they're pulling together, and that's
Right.
the amazing part.
Right.
But yes, they're just, you know, trying to find every avenue to suck us dry.
They wouldn't allow you to change the venue to Los Angeles, and they forced you to go to Washington, D.C. for all your hearings, right?
Yeah, I had to do
And
a
of course,
bit of
you had to pay for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, Edward has a lot of people that love him, but at the same time, I'm not sure how vocal he was with definitely his friends, but maybe not his family, you know, in the political world. So they don't understand, you know, his
Right.
mom anytime that she has the opportunity to speak with one of us patriots, you know, and someone mentions Trump, she just, you know, like she's just like, I'm so angry, you know, he brought him there and he said, you know, and she just doesn't understand that this fight is so necessary, unfortunately, for us to go through this, to bring that in to the public eye.
So the way I see this is you were put up against federal prosecutors and a well-oiled judicial machine with literally no experience at all.
Yeah, and they don't,
on your
you know.
side, and you were denied a change of venue, and you were forced to pay for all these back and forth trips. So, in my opinion, the process has become the punishment. So that's what's happening to Ammon Bundy and now to James O'Keefe. And multiple other people. They're using the so-called justice system as a weapon against people.
This super slow justice system.
And the objective is to deplete your funds and defeat your ability to defend yourself. And I think it's disgusting. Mm-hmm. So I just want you to know that we're with you and we're with Edward. And I know that this whole proceeding has been just a travesty, a disgusting travesty. Mm-hmm. And I am disgusted by the judiciary and the people involved in doing this to him. So we'll try to help you the best we can. And in that effort, I would like to get you connected with Trennis Evans, one of our previous speakers. So let's talk. Sure. And we'll get you his contact details and get in touch with him. Because he's like these wonderful folks. He's organizing for the whole group of the J6ers. So they're organizing for the federal employees, and Trennis is organizing for the J6ers.
Awesome.
So just want you to know that we love you, and we're going to do everything we can to help you, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't mind me speaking on the record, just still, you know,
Sure.
a little bit more
Please do.
about his experience in there too. You know, they had him in isolation for 9 days because of COVID restrictions, right? So he was stuck in his cell and didn't even get to leave for the first couple of days, his cell at all. He has, you know, the little food slot. They put your food in there. Mm-hmm. Small enough, I think 2 beds. It's like a detention center. It's for like the drunk tank or whatever. You know, it's like supposed to be temporary. 9 whole days in there before he got moved to the J6 pod. Mm-hmm. And barely any water, honestly. He said he was super dehydrated for a while. He built himself like a little punching bag out of clothes, you know, so he could just really just kind of get out what he needed and not, you know, put it out on anyone else to behave himself in there. And then thankfully, you know, the J6 pod is a bit better, just in case anyone out there wants to know that he's doing a bit better than he was.
So he was in isolation for 9 days?
Yeah.
So Amnesty International considers isolation of more than 48 hours to be torture. Mm-hmm. Just so you know.
Yeah, it needs to be told to everyone listening. Mm-hmm. And he is, you know, he was able to watch the Steeler game today. He tried to call me. I'm from Pittsburgh. So he said, you know, did you want to watch the Steeler game together? And I was, you know, I'd get a call in the beginning, of course, and then we'd watch it. And then he'd call me at the end to talk about it. But that is like the first, or he got to watch the wrestling match in the center as well, the rec center. And, you know, that's like the first thing that he's really gotten that was nice. Their food is crap. You know, I'm trying to find an avenue. I guess there's a way you can order nicer food from my end that I can get sent to him, you know. But it's all just, they make it so hard to contact him, to see him, to, you know, everything's just feels like torture, yeah.
Yeah. Could you finish, was it only those 2 charges that he was convicted of?
Oh, and then trespassing, which is the misdemeanor.
Okay.
So conspiracy, obstruction of an official court proceeding, and trespassing. But if they get rid of an obstruction of an official court proceeding, then actually the conspiracy is the conspiracy to commit, I believe, the obstruction of an official court proceeding. So hopefully when that goes away, they all go away. You know, because actually there's no trespassing law for the Capitol other than what Mike Pence was in there, you know, and so that's just that area. And that wasn't even where he was, you know, so they really shouldn't be able to give that to him either.
So just to get this on the record, Edward was attempting to stop Antifa from destroying the Capitol. And he's seen on film doing this. And yet the court found it reasonable to convict him of a conspiracy to stop the vote count and the vote certification process. Okay? So that in itself is ridiculous. That's
well, you can't even say
flagrantly
words
on
like
its
Antifa
face,
in there.
flagrantly on its face, a lie. So I just wanted to say that on your behalf. That's completely ridiculous. To prove a conspiracy, you have to do a little more than just say so, you know, and they're not doing that. But, you know, I just can't express enough how unfair I think this is to put people through this kind of a process. And they know full well in the court system, they know full well that people do not understand their language. They don't understand the process. They don't understand anything about what they're getting into, and they take complete advantage of that. And I think in Edward's case, one of the most egregious offenses they committed was they didn't allow a change of venue, so you could have your hearings near to your home.
Yeah.
Okay? And the only reason, there's 2 reasons I think they did that, is I think the January 6th committee has control of that judge that's in D.C., and they know that judge will go along with their lies. And number 2, to deplete you of your ability to defend yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're going to make sure that we get some kind of punishment, no matter, you know, if we end up not guilty in the end. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, we've had several defendants from J6 here now. And, you know, Derek Kennison is one, Trennis Evans, who is now organizing on behalf of the January 6ers. And Edward, all tell basically the same story. They did nothing. And these charges are just fabrications.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous. There was no insurrection. But Kaylyn, just from your heart, how can we help you?
I mean, obviously the not GoFundMe, the Give Send Go page is help free Edward Badalian. And that's obviously appreciated, so anything helps. I'm just getting out there and speaking at multiple events, and, just like people like you, I'll be in Beverly Hills, or I'll be, and it's just, like I said, a learning process, so hopefully all goes well. So prayers for me on my end, my sanity, my sleep would be good. I feel like there was always so much to be said, and that could be in individual conversations, but I would just say keep doing what you're doing, because, that part's important, and this is my part. Edward being in there, that's his part, unfortunately. But there are, and I don't know why, and I don't want to link the jail to start thinking about this, but, a lot of our able-bodied patriot men are together in those prisons, and they're also, talking
right.
and, not stopping the fight either. So we have to keep them educated. Write him letters. I mean, I can, give that information to Adam, and he can send that. He would love it. Just
Absolutely.
communication. He's just such a, talkative bee, and he would love it. Yeah.
We can do that. Can you tell me one more thing, just so everybody here can learn this term? Can you tell me what diesel therapy is, please?
Did I talk to you about that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I was fortunate enough, like I said, the woman came in and these women educated me on all this stuff. But one thing called diesel therapy, I guess they start moving you from prison to prison, and make sure that you never get settled, and that you can't bring anything with you, so you cannot have socks, underwear, anything that you bought in the previous place. You leave everything and have to rebuy it. And so they, get you with your money there, and him just never having a place to call home and not making new friends. That's going to be part of this process probably. As soon as they're done with his appeal, I'm hoping all this goes a way different way, and it's so much better. But he's going to eventually leave D.C., and then he'll get bused to probably Oklahoma is where everyone goes. At least it's the middle. It's where everyone kind of makes their direction. And then hopefully Lompoc is a couple hours from me. I'm in Canoga Park, so it's a little closer to me. But it's going to be a while until he gets there. His lawyer says, at least 6 months till we get real things moving. And then, a year is the appeal time process average. So a year he's going to be either in there, or I'm pretty sure he said he wants to personally stay in D.C., for that, because he's just all linked in now, and if he can just go through the appeal, then he'll go through it there, I mean, I think he's starting to settle with certain things, and just know that I'm just trying to keep him calm on my end, so
Right.
I think he's settled with certain things, yeah.
So I wanted to add to what she said about diesel therapy, because diesel therapy was done to Ammon Bundy, our founder. He was held in solitary confinement for 1 full year, and he hadn't been through his trial yet, so he hadn't even been convicted. So they tortured that man for a year, and part of the torture was diesel therapy. So they put you on a bus to change your location, and they manacle you to the seat, and then they drive for 16, 18 hours at a time, and they don't allow you to get up. So prisoners get blood clots in the back of their legs that travel to their heart and kill them.
Yeah.
So that's what diesel therapy is. All the people inside these prisons are sadistic, and they like to torture prisoners. So that's what diesel therapy is. And I just want to say, I'm ashamed of my country. I'm ashamed that those judges are even judges. Mm-hmm. I'm ashamed of the whole January 6th committee and the whole travesty. It's disgusting. Mm-hmm. It's disgusting. Can you say that one more time? Who is the judge again?
Amy Berman Jackson is the judge, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of corruptness within these judges, and you can just blatantly see it. It's just so obvious, and that's the disgusting part, is that they just push forward and they're like, "Yep, we're corrupt," but you have no capability to defend yourself.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you would, if you find it within your hearts to do so, we're doing a little collection for Edward's defense and his appeal. And Jane will be collecting for that, and she's right over there. So anything you can
Thanks,
give
Jane.
towards that would be really appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you listening and hearing my update. Hopefully we'll have better news soon.
Thank you, Kaylyn.
Thank you.
So if anyone else does have anything that they would like to say, please come on up to the mic.
Is this mic still live? Is this still live here?
Yeah, that mic is live as well. So go ahead.
I just want to say that this prosecution of the J6ers, in my opinion, goes way beyond punishing them. What I think it is all about is sending a message to anybody else who might dare to consider taking an action like that, or any type of action that supports our constitutional rights, to put the fear of God into them so that they will not do it. That's what I think it's really at its highest level about, is the highest level of a control.
I agree.
Manipulation.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about fear. That's their weapon, is fear and deception. So. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you could, please take your seats. We are getting a call directly from Edward Badalian. So please take your seats and stop your conversations for a moment, please. So this will be Edward speaking from prison.
Okay, can you hear me, Edward?
Yes.
Okay, I think you just need to turn him up a tiny bit, maybe?
Can you hear me? Testing.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead and talk to everybody. We're all here.
Hello, everyone. This is Edward from the DC gulag, as it's affectionately known. So I guess the first thing I would like to talk about is the conditions that are here.
I did speak on it a little bit for them, but go ahead.
Yeah, so when they bring people in here, they do what's called a quarantine, and it's no longer really targeted at J6ers, because so many J6ers are basically suing the jail, and so now they just do it to everybody. They torture essentially, and what happens is they want to make sure that everyone stays over the weekend, because what they do on the weekend is from Friday 9 p.m. all the way to Monday 9 p.m. You don't get out of your cell. So it's 72 hours of solitary, maximum security lockdown, where you're basically fed through a slot and barely get any water, so you're dehydrated. Everyone was dehydrated. But there's a lot of camaraderie in there, so I don't know what they were trying to do by, because they separate every J6er and they say, oh, you're protected custody, and then everyone else is Gen Pop. So they try to create the separation and enforce the separation in the jail. Divide and conquer, obviously. But so what ended up happening was I would go and speak to in my little rec time that I had, I would go and speak to the other medium security, maximum security, like criminal people, and everyone, black, Mexican, white, it's just everyone's pro-Trump, and they're all standing by the January 6ers, and they're just excited that we're here, and they're like, you guys changed the jail, the conditions were way worse before, and now they're finally improving because, you're actually holding them to standard, and American standard. Yeah, so everyone is pro-Trump here. So I don't know if that makes them happy or not, but yeah, but they torture everybody. They don't torture the basics. Every inmate that comes in has to basically go through maximum security hell for a while before they're moved into a normal housing unit. So now I've moved into the J6 housing unit, which is all J6ers. So it's interesting here to have the conversations and basically for lack of a better term, like planning what we're going to do in the court system and in the political system to fight back against this evil corruption. So I just want to let you guys know that, you know, we're not giving up in here. Everyone in here, no one in here is sad and mopey and have self-pity. And no, we're still in the fight for this soul of this country. And so the message that I try to put out from here always is that don't get disheartened. Don't see what they're doing to us and then let it hurt your morale.
Oddly enough, I just gave that same message here.
Well,
Yeah.
Edward,
Just keep spreading the word.
this is Adam Ruff. Can you hear me?
Yes, Adam.
Okay, I just want you to know that we're with you, brother, and we don't want you to give up because we're going to fight on your behalf from here. And there's about 25 of us here, and just want you to know that we love you, brother.
Thank you. I love you guys too. I will never stop fighting for this cause, for righteousness of trying to bring light and truth back to America.
Well, I'm
Like we're
ashamed
under, like, a
that
demonic
you're.
spell right now.
I'm ashamed that you're stuck in that gulag, and we're going to do everything we can to help you. Okay.
Thank you. And so I just wanted to say also, you know, there's a lot of Democrats that, you know, are open to this, to siding with us over this, because if you remember, the polls showed that 10 to 20% of Democrats would not have voted for Joe Biden if they knew the Hunter Biden laptop was real. So we have to drive a truck through that. We have to win over as many Democrats as we can too, because they don't like warmongers, and Biden is a warmonger. As soon as he got into office, wars started popping up all over the place. He undid all of the peace deals and good work that Trump did to bring peace to the Middle East, bring peace to Ukraine, bring peace to Taiwan and North Korea, and now that immediately Biden got in, weak American president that's controlled by the powers that like to go to war, boom, wars broke out all over the place, and now it's getting even worse. Iran is now basically attacking Israel, and that could potentially start World War III, and lo and behold, Joe Biden was the one who refunded Iran immediately after getting into office. So the blood of those Israeli children and women and children that were just murdered is on Biden's hands.
Edward, can you tell us a little bit more about what the conditions are like, and can you tell me from your perspective what diesel therapy is?
Yes. Okay. So what they do is to certain people, I guess that they feel so threatened by because we're so evil, is they will move people around prison so they can't get settled or comfortable anywhere. And it's essentially, that's what's called like diesel therapy. It's like they drive you around to torture you. You can't ever make any real friends, and you never get settled in. So currently they're doing that to my co-defendant, Daniel Rodriguez. He was here, and then they moved him to another jail, and they moved him to, and then they moved him to Pennsylvania, and then to now to downtown LA, and then they're going to finally move him to Lompoc. So there's like 4 different prisons or whatever. So it's like a torture method. There was another guy who was in my same quarantine cell. He should be coming up here on Monday. He came in a little bit later after me. So he's currently going through that 72-hour torture lockdown downstairs, Curtis Tate. And they had already done diesel therapy to him. So this is like his 4th prison in the matter of months since being arrested. And he could tell that it was affecting him. It was like he missed his friends that he met in the other jail. And
Learn how to be alone.
Have you faced any abuse at the hands of any guards?
Actually, yeah. So the some guards are rude. Even when I'm respectful to them, they're rude. This guy named Chioma, say his name openly. He's just screaming at me for no reason. I've been like, and then I listen to him, and then he goes, "Oh, you're going to be a problem here," and I'm like, No, I'm not. Everything you tell me, like, I just immediately do it. Like,
Continuing the
just
narrative.
kind of talk it, disrespectful for no reason. Yeah. But other than him, most CEOs have been respectful. And some of them were even like going to vote Trump. Like they were not against it at all. You know, at the end of the day, they don't want their children being turned trans in the schools, and they don't want to see gay pride parades with children dancing with adults throwing money on them. Like most of the correctional officers here are actually African immigrants, and the countries they come from are highly conservative. So they're all like about conservatism and family values and religious principles. So there's a whole transformation going on here in this jail because of basically because of what they're trying to do. They try to torture us, but we're flipping it around on them. Everyone is pro-Trump now.
Hey, Ed, we have another question.
If you could send a message to Trump, President Trump, what message would you tell him?
I would tell him to not avoid us. I don't know why he's avoiding us. I mean, like, you know, this is what I said in my interview with Ryan J. Riley when he asked me what my message for Trump was. I'm like, look, I know we're like ragtag and we're not like sophisticated like the people that you're usually hanging around with, but our hearts are in the right place. Trust us. Trust us. We are really your friends. Like he only did Alex Jones' show one time. No, go back and do it again and reconnect with your grassroots. Like, we are your people. And like when the left, you know, they have like actual terrorists who target police, conspire to attack police, federal police. And then all the celebrities on the left, like, fund millions and millions and millions of dollars for their legal fees. Okay, we don't need millions of dollars. But it'd be nice to see, you know, some support from the top down, so we wouldn't have to rely on pure grassroots support, because that's not right. So, you know, the rich Republicans should also be stepping up. I mean, come on. And we didn't even target police, or we weren't even trying to like do what Antifa does. We were trying to stop a crime. We're being criminalized, so it's righteous to try to help us. I mean, come on.
You guys might have another 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So, Edward, is there anything you would like to say just to the American people? Because we'll broadcast it for you, okay?
Yeah, I would like to say that you know, both Democrats and Republicans, we can stand together against warmonger Biden and promote and fight for Trump, because he did bring peace to the world, and he can do it again. If you don't want to see innocent people dying all over the world in wars, let's get Trump back in office.
Even through means of Speaker of the House.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, Edward, but President Trump pardoned the Hammonds, who were the focus of the Malheur Wildlife Refuge occupation. So President Trump felt that they were unjustly punished, and he pardoned them. So I'm not saying that there's any guarantees of him getting in office or doing that, but I think he does hear you. And I just want you to. I just want you to be strong, brother. So go ahead. You got the floor for the rest of your time.
Yeah. So I think that's the reason why a lot of us have kept up the fight, that we didn't just roll over when the DOJ came for us, that we were going to fight tooth and nail at every step, because it's not a guarantee that Trump gets back in office. It's not a guarantee that we get pardoned. But it is a guarantee that we're not going to go quietly into the night, that the devil will not swallow us alive and digest us. The devil will regurgitate this. This will not come to pass. And righteousness and justice will be served in the end.
Amen.
Well, thank you, brother. Stay strong, okay? We love you, man.
Thank you. I'll stay strong for you guys. Thank you guys. I love you guys.
It's happening everywhere. They're going after anyone who opposes them. They took Tucker Carlson off the air. They're labeling Christians as domestic terrorists. They arrested the former president of the United States, Donald Trump. The same people who locked the country down for 2 years, who pushed experimental vaccines on the population, and who attacked anyone who are opposed to this, are now coming after people like me for speaking out against their injustices. I took a stand, and for that I have spent time in prison, faced numerous threats against myself and my family. And now, with lawsuit after lawsuit, they're trying to take my income, my business, and even my home. I could have avoided all of this. I could have just stayed home. But that's not what Americans do. Americans stand against injustice, wherever we see it, even when it's coming from within, even when it may cost us our own lives. You want what is happening in this country to continue? If the good people in America don't stop this, who's going to? We have work here to do. We have to confront this head on. We have to end this threat to our way of life. You need to join people's rights. Get involved and get together with your neighbors, because that's where it begins. No one is going to do this for us. It's going to be up to you and me, everyday Americans who love this country, to come together and put a stop to what is happening.